Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Thank you, Prabhu. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari.
There's 2 boxes of flowers and James farm boxes in the downstairs fridge for her.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Give her that box that I brought over full of roses. She could use those in the garlands. It's right over there. It's the big plastic box. You know, the blooms.
Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Stotara, His Divine Grace Abhay Charavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Gangamaya Ki Jai, Shri Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're going to finish the chapter, and so this is texts 34 and 35 in the whole nice pastime of the killing of Jarasandha. So, text 34. Abhivanyata Rajanam Bhimarjuna Janardana Sarvamasravayam Chakrur Atmana Yarunushtitam Abhivadyayata Rajanam Bhimarjuna Janardana Sarvamasrayam Chakrur. Abhivandya, offering their respects. Ata, then. Rajanam, the king. Bhima Arjuna Janardana. Bhima, Arjuna, and Krishna. Sarvam, everything. Asravayam Chakrur, they told. Atmana, by themselves. Yat, what? Anushtitam, executed. Translation: Bhima, Arjuna, and Janardana offered their respects to the king and informed him fully about what they had done. Please repeat. Bhima, Arjuna, and Janardana offered their respects to the king and informed him fully about what they had done. So there's no purport by the BBT servants for this. There is a purport by the acharyas, but let's first read text 35, and then we'll go through both verses. We can read together. Nishamya dharmarajastat keshavena nukampitam anandasru kalamuchan premna novacha kinchana. Upon hearing their account of the great favor Lord Keshava had mercifully shown him, King Dharmaraj shed tears of ecstasy. He felt such love that he could not say anything. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 73rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled, Lord Krishna Blesses the Liberated Kings. Om Jnana Tinamandasha Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Nimitamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srivati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pratharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Paschachate Shatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Vir Krishna Das Goswami Niti Namine Namo Hamsana Kashaya Prabhupada Prayate Sudrida Sudhi Nisyamyam Tashavaki Nivadine. Jai, so we're just wrapping up this chapter, this very interesting pastime in the 10th canto of when Lord Krishna sort of oversaw, or I'll say pulled the strings to have Jarasandha killed without getting his own hands very dirty, and also the releasing of the kings, the imprisoned kings who had been there for a very long time. And we know from so many discussions in this chapter that in many ways these kings represent those of us in this world. They were at the height of their opulence, their decadence, their sort of fame or being infamous. They were living lavishly and with reckless abandon, it would seem. And so Jarasandha, who probably for different reasons, obviously, imprisoned them. And now they've been liberated. And the reason they were liberated, even though they had sort of taken that turn toward going down that wrong path, the reason they were liberated is because when they were in their confinement, they constantly remembered the Lord. They were constantly trying to bring their minds back to the lotus feet, the shelter of the Lord. That's not that, that's his hearing aids. So one thing that, there's two names in these two verses that stuck out to me. And before we go through those names, I'd like to just read what Jiva Goswami had said for both of these verses. So about text 34, Jiva Goswami states, after blowing the conch, Ata, without much time elapsing, since they arrived quickly, since the king came to meet them, they offered respects to the king. Krishna offered respects last, out of modesty. Out of affection, he sent Arjuna first. He also stayed behind because he was very shy to assist in killing Jarasandha, since he was the crest jewel of good conduct. He was the killer of the wicked, Janardana. They're speaking of Krishna. They informed him what they had all done, Atmana, since telling what they themselves did was not proper, and because of the bliss arising from the prema. They described the skill of others. So when they went to the king, just a little bit about this text 34, when they went to the king to tell him, much in the same way they were a little bit reticent, I would say, about, Krishna was reticent about laying any hands on Jarasandha at that point, because he and Jarasandha already had their moment before, when they did battle those many times. And so Krishna is so expert at letting persons hang themselves, giving them enough rope so they can hang themselves. And then that way it doesn't look like that he has any part in it. And that's a vernacular in today's world too. I'm sure everybody has heard, if you give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. That means that if they continue on the path that they're on, and in this case with Jarasandha making offenses and doing so many things, just one after another, that's the rope. That's the rope. It just keeps going, you know. When somebody, when person has all of that wherewithal to criticize and, chastise, offend, unfoundedly, then, pride comes before a fall. Maybe, Jarasandha was very favorably disposed towards the Brahmanas, but, at the same time, he was doing these other things that weren't really dharmic. He actually had imprisoned the kings for his own desire to gain more power, basically. And so when they came before the king, they were all a little bit, they're not boastful. Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima, they're not going to be boastful and prideful and, oh, they killed this guy, that's not the way, Krishna, Jiva Goswami says he was shy to assist in killing Jarasandha. Although in this verse, he's called Janardana, which is slayer of the wicked. And actually, Janardana has a few meanings. The main meaning is the protector and the original abode of all living beings. So that's actually, if he's having to, we got to think about it. If Krishna must correct somebody, if he must kill somebody, if he, must step in a harsh way, it's for the good of all. It's not because he's being, a jerk. It's because he's actually, he's protecting, that epithet is used, that name is used for Krishna so much. Protector and maintainer. One who controls, maintains, and provides for all, ensuring all living entities are sustained. Janardana, he's our sole provider, sole maintainer. He preserves what we what we have and carries what we lack. Krishna does all those things for us because he loves us, Janardana doesn't have to mean a sort of a wicked or a not wicked, but a harsh. It's not, shouldn't be a harsh term. It's actually one of great liberation and, for us, relief, because we know that someone's always has our back. They always are protecting us. They're always maintaining us, no matter what. we see that a lot, particularly the devotees are able to recognize that. You know, many times those who aren't God conscious, they feel that somebody's done something to them, that this is being done to me. You know, the universe hates me, or whatever they think. They don't, that's a common theme, I would say, particularly among human beings. They do things, or they incite various activities by their own activities. But when the activity comes around and they say, you know, there's another expression, when the bird comes home to roost, you know, when that karma comes around to somebody, or that result of whatever they've done, it's very difficult for, as Irma was saying, be introspective. It's very hard to introspect about, why is this actually happening to me? It's very easy to point the finger and blame others. Oh, they did this, and this happened because that person did this, and you know, oh, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. That was something I think early on I've heard many stories, anecdotal, about, you know, persons. When we all start out, we think, oh, why, you know, we're innocent, you know. Then we become devotees, and then we start to understand, well, there's karma. But still, sometimes devotees think they're innocent. They don't see their part in the way things have gone. But it takes two bangles to jangle. Whenever there's a situation, one person does something, another person does another thing, and then that actually creates that shared experience, whatever the situation is, whether it benefits some person and not another, or both persons have been put down because of it. So Janardhan, I was interested in the little, when you break it down, jana obviously is people, and ardhana is torment and distress. And in this context, it represents the Lord as the enforcer of dharma, who punishes evildoers and dispels ignorance, Janardana. That's used not so much, that's not a primary name of Krishna, but it's probably one of the most apt names of Krishna, particularly for those of us who are here and we understand our predicament a little bit in this material world. We understand that we really have all fallible soldiers surrounding us, and the only person that we can actually rely on is our soul maintainer, provider, pati, guru, you know, the whole thing. All of our, he's our everything, right? Krishna's our everything. So that's on text 34. So he's called Janardana. And then in the very next text, where King Dharmaraj heard their whole account that Lord Keshava had replayed a little bit, or shown him, I'll say, and Arjuna, Bhima, they all told him what had happened. Think about it, you know, King Dharmaraj shed tears of ecstasy. He felt such love that he could not say anything, is what's in the Bhagavatam. And Jiva Goswami states, he had been shown mercy by Krishna, who stood there with his weapons, Keshavena. Yudhishthira shed drops of blissful tears. Because of his choked throat, or because it was not proper, he could not speak, since he had prema, since he was the best in the terms of dharma to the Lord, Dharmaraj. So that's King Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira Maharaj that's kind of what he's known. Well, actually, Lord Yamaraj is a lot of times known as Dharmaraj, because Lord Yamaraj, of course, sees all, and he, actually I was reading a little bit about Lord Yamaraj. It was kind of interesting. Yama, the deity who governs the afterlife and judges the dead, because he is entirely impartial and ensures that the souls face the exact karmic consequences of their actions. He is recognized as the ultimate guardian of justice. We know even in this world, well, particularly in this world, since it's full of dualities, but even in this world, many times criminals will be judged as guilty for some crime that they weren't even, we hear about that a lot. Sometimes somebody was convicted 30 years ago and been in jail, and finally some new DNA evidence comes forth and proves them innocent. So there's not even regular justice amongst living beings where there's so-called a push towards justice, like in this material world. There's no justice, Justice is sort of it's an elusive term in this material world, I would say, at best, because, this material world is temporary and illusory. We're all under the laws of karma, So for Yamaraj, he actually, he's the last sort of line, right? He's the last line. He's the last judge in the line. We can go our whole lives, and we know a lot of times there's been serial killers, or there's been multiple, crimes. Somebody would commit multiple crimes. They never got caught. They disappeared, and then it becomes legendary. I still see sometimes popping up about some great train robbery, and they, stole all this money and they were never found. And, there's all those kinds of things where people evade that kind of justice in this world. But cruel death is going to judge everybody. Yamaraj is judging everybody at that time, and he is 100% impartial. There's not anything to do with any self-interest or any favorability amongst, for some reason. So he's actually known very regularly, Dharmaraj, as Dharmaraj. But Yudhishthira, he is also known as that because he was the ideal king. He was extremely moral, upstanding, truthful, he was a righteous king, all of the attributes of a righteous king, basically. That was King Yudhishthira. And, for them all to come to him after this whole ordeal, and it was quite an ordeal, what else can you do? King Yudhishthira was just overwhelmed with pure love for how much Krishna is caring and maintaining and providing for his devotee, for the person that it's said that the Lord reciprocates the most with those who he loves everybody. He's equal to everybody. Everyone has equal opportunity to gain his favor. But specifically, when you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes several steps towards you, because he's thrilled that finally we've turned our face back to him. And this is actually kind of proof. This whole chapter is proof. These kings, I'm sure at the time, were living in the lap of luxury. They were, forgetting all about any other, overarching themes like, wow, who has more luxury than me? Who has more opulence than me? People tend to forget about that. We see that now in this society. I was reading just a brief article. I didn't read the whole thing, but the theme is how you can tell when a civilization is about to collapse, and when a particular society, or more societal collapse, when a particular society begins, with the wealth disparagement, they start becoming greedy. That's the first thing, becoming very greedy, becoming very, resource grabs for everything, even if it's things that they don't own. And we see that now with the environment, Mother Bhumi, so many resources that are being held and claimed. So that's the first thing, is that sort of greed for resources or greed for money or greed, to become more powerful, but particularly when they start to go off the rails with different deviant, twisted ideas, about how they treat others, right? And how they should enjoy different ways they can enjoy, and becoming just overwhelmed with so much, lavish everything, just an inundation of all the best things in their view, all, everything that they can possibly take in, whether it's harming others, harming the environment, they don't care. So that's actually when the sort of decline of a society you can identify, because everything's gone out of what dharma is. There's actually no righteousness. There's no accounting or accountability, and there's no accounting for other persons. Upliftment. Governments aren't doing their job. People are holding and squandering wealth on things that are, outrageous, outlandish, just for personal enjoyment. We're seeing all that in real time. And presumably that's what was going on with the kings at the time, And in Jarasanda's case, he was a little probably envious that, these kings were having all this power and wealth and all the things. So what to do? You capture them all, and you deprive them of those things. You deprive them. When that envy switch is flipped on, and, persons really want to take action against somebody they're envying, or they want what they have, then that's when also things start to go awry. I mean, Jarasandha, if he was such a lover of Brahminical culture, if he was such a lover, I mean, the question is there, was he thinking in that terms, that since these kings were they were overstepping what their powers were, they were overstepping their what their lifestyle should be, was Jarasandha, that's what turned him into being very envious. Was he also, used as kind of an agent by Krishna to, facilitate the king's return to the lotus feet of Krishna? Yeah, probably. Right? Krishna uses different people in different ways at different times. We see that here, I'm sure all of us have had experience where we had something on our mind. We're just kind of casually thinking about it. We're not talking to anybody about it. But then just randomly, somebody will start talking to us about that very thing. How can you deny that that's, Krishna speaking through this person? Prabhupada mentions, anyone can be a guru, actually. There's, we'll read on in the 11th chapter where that individual starts to see a dog as a guru, a prostitute as a guru. There's so many gurus, because if you're trying to tune into Krishna and you're thinking about what Krishna wants you to do, if you're thinking in that way, and if you're thinking in a dharmic way, then Krishna will give you the answer, and maybe not in a way that you expect, Even sometimes I've been walking through a store, and I'll just hear a fragment of a conversation about something, and I'll remember, I need to talk about that with so-and-so about that subject. Krishna just pushes through so many ways to try to show us, tell us, help us understand how we should act. If we want that, if we actually want to be in his service, if we want to, and if we're remembering him, we want to actually please him, he'll help us, because he's Janardhan. He's our soul maintainer. He's our soul provider. He'll actually answer those prayers or those thoughts, or he'll help us. I'm quite sure everybody has those incidences. I had actually one I'll share on Friday, which is going to probably sound really unbelievable, but it's not unusual. I frequently have these things with particularly Radha Golokananda, who are so reciprocal. Kamalini knows. Somebody couldn't offer the noon arti on Friday suddenly. They had a flight that they missed. So, I was busy, and the other thing that was going on was that morning, Friday morning, I woke up and I had something wrong with my hip. And it was like, I must have twisted wrong or did something wrong the day before. I don't know. I didn't know. But it was really painful. So, I just get up and I just go about my business, come to Mangalarti. I'm, doing all the things around here. Because, a lot of times if you move around, it works itself out. But it wasn't working itself out. It was extremely painful, and getting more so as I walked around and did stuff and went upstairs and whatever. Then I thought, okay, let me rest. I think I rested for a half an hour or something. Nothing. And then finally, I was, thinking about the noon arti, and nobody was available, and I had asked a few people, and nobody was responding, and I was like, oh my, I'm going to have to go stand around for a long time, to be on my feet for a couple hours again, and it was really painful. So, what can I do? There's nobody else to do the arti, right? So I come over, and, arti's always beautiful, so it wasn't an imposition. I just was thinking about the leg or the hip or whatever. So probably most of the way through the arti, when I was offering, and anybody that knows the altar knows it's a very narrow little space, and there's the guru picture and then the altar, and I was offering, and I had forgotten to offer to the guru first, because I was actually in quite a lot of pain. I wasn't on top of my game. If you have pain, you're not on top of your game. I mean, that's just the fact. So I was standing about to offer and facing the deities, but then I had to twist back over to offer to the picture, and then I heard this big pop. And whatever I had going on with the hip just immediately dissipated. It just immediately dissipated, and I was just awestruck, because I was like, wow, that was like, because when I get called over to do the arti, which isn't very often, I'm always thinking, okay, I wonder what Krishna's going to say. I wonder what he's going to tell me, what he's going to show me. Sometimes he'll show me things like something's left on the altar, something's, under the sink's leaking, somebody rested Giriraj, they shouldn't. There's all these little bits, he'll show me stuff, but everything was in order. Actually, the whole arti went smooth, but at the very end, when that happened and everything popped back into place, just magically popped back into place, I could understand, okay, wow, this is why Krishna brought me over here. He brought me over here to play chiropractor, right? Brought me over here to fix my problem. Just to fix my problem. I wasn't even asking. But I was, holding back a little bit. I was being careful. But as the soul maintainer, Krishna is actually our soul maintainer, our soul provider. He does everything for us. If we just let him, he'll do it all without us even asking, because he knows our heart, He knows our heart. He knows what we want. He knows our intention. If our intention is to serve him nicely, our intention is to keep serving him nicely, serve him better, serve others. If we have the right intentions, he helps us. He carries what we lack. He provides. There's no question. There's absolutely no question. And that sort of thing has happened so many times over the years. Even with inanimate objects, I remember one time our dryer was on the fritz, and I was like, oh no, we can't afford a dryer, can't afford a dryer. And a couple days later, I just happened to notice that now the dryer didn't have this slipping belt sound. It was somehow it had fixed itself, because I was like thinking, Krishna, we can't afford a dryer. Fix this dryer. It's so ridiculous to ask Krishna for things like that. Whenever I go out on Harinam, anytime I go out on Harinam, Chapel Hill, Durham, whatever, high times, peak times when there's a lot of people around, Krishna will give me a parking place right in front of where we're standing. It happens every single time. And I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just thinking, oh, I'm going to, have to, I know some parking places that are a little further, or maybe I got to pay for parking. But he provides. He always provides. Krishna always provides. Krishna always provides. There's absolutely nothing we should worry about. There's nothing we have to worry about. There's nothing that we have to ruminate or fret about, be on the mental about. There's really nothing. He provides, and he provides in ways, and he maintains in ways that we don't even understand or we don't see coming. He just actually drops it on us, and we're like, wow, that's, we always have to think about Krishna. Sometimes people don't think it's Krishna, but it's always Krishna. There's no accidents. There's no accidents, We're all in this material world, and things are going on just how Krishna, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. Things are moving just as Krishna prescribes. Of course, he has all of his managers, agents, transparent via mediums. He's speaking through strangers. He's speaking through animals. He's speaking through nature. He's showing us things that we wouldn't expect. We can't think it's the universe or providence or an accident or those sort of things. When people don't see the hand of Krishna, you must see the hand of Krishna in every single thing that you do, you see, you experience, good or bad. Sometimes it's not good, and sometimes that's when we must be introspective. The kings were thrown in jail, all their opulence taken away, they were starved out, they were disheveled, they were filthy, they were treated like dogs, like animals. But you know what? They came around to the thinking that, this is my lot in this life. This is how, what I deserve. And, oh my, Krishna, I'm so unfortunate. Please help me. It's never too late. I've said this so many times. We see so many times in the Bhagavatam where someone just takes it too far. Hiranyakshipu took it too far. Kansa took it too far. Jarasandha took it too far. So many people, they take it too far, and then they must be slapped down by Krishna. But if you turn your face to Krishna at any minute, even in that last part of taking it too far, before you take it too far, just pray to the Lord and he'll appear. Janardana, Shri Janardana, Ki Jai.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanva
Page 50. Page 50. 50. 50. Page 50. Manasa deho geho yokichumo apilo tuapare nanda kishore manasa deho geho yokichumo pilotua pare nanda kishore sampare vipare jivane marane sampare vipare jivane Dai mama gela juao para barane Mai mama gela juao para barane para vira kami Yoi cha chohara Pavira kavi Yoi cha chohara Maravira kavi Yoi cha chohara Nityanasa pratituari kara pratituari kara Janma bhima ichajarito Janma bhima ichajarito Bhakta grihe jani janma Kita janmaha jata tuadas Ta janmaha jata tuadas Bahir mukta brahma janme Nahiyas Bahir mukha brahma janme tu sarva moya Pati tu sarva moya Bhakti vinod kahe suno kana kahe suno kana Bhakti vinod kahe suno kana Divino kahe sunokana Radhanata tuhamara parana Radhanata tuhamara parana Manasa deho geho yoicho mo apilo tu apare nanda kishore Manasa deho geho yoicho mo Abiro tua pare nanda kishore Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Radhe Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Radhe Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Shri Radhe Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Shri Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Tattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Mind, body, and family, whatever may be mine, I have surrendered at your lotus feet, O youthful son of Nanda, in good fortune or in bad, in life or at death. All my difficulties have disappeared by choosing those feet of yours as my only shelter. Slay me or protect me as you wish, for you are my master, and I am your eternal servant. If it is your will that I be born again, that it may be born in the home of your devotee. May I be born again even as a worm, so long as I remain your devotee. I have no desire to be born even as many-headed Lord Brahma, if averse to you. I yearn for the company of that devotee who is completely devoid of all desire for worldly enjoyment or liberation. Father, mother, lover, son, Lord, preceptor, and husband, you are my everything. Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, hear me, O Kana, Krishna, O Lord of Radha, you are my life. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, ki jai. Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitadanam Vidya Vajujivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Puranam Nisvadanam Sarvamasadanam Jayate Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Nitami Amitas Smarane Nakala Etadrisita Vakripan Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Medrishangiha Yanina Nuragaha Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manalena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Rahetuki Twai Ainantandanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Parvan Panchachastitas Tuchunchintanaya Nayanam Galura Srudaraya Vadanam Gadgada Rudargira Pulakar Nichitam Babukada Tava Namagrahane Bhavishyati Yuga Yitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravishayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahename Ashli Shava Padam Sumam Adarshanan Marma Karutava Yatata Vidanavalampato Mat Pranastas Tusaevana Paraha. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years, and it extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one should chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? When will the hairs on my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world of your absence. I know no one. Krishna is my Lord. Wow. Before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything. He is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shikshastikam ki jai. Jai. Another beautiful week in the service of Sri Sri Radha Golokananda. Starting out with, today is Raghunandana Das's birthday. Haribo! 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 Congratulations on another trip around the sun. Yes. And thank you, Mother Chaitanya. Deities look so beautiful today. Krishna's just like, wow.